Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Super excited for today's training. So let me just wait a couple minutes for everybody to get on. Well, not a couple minutes, a couple seconds. And then we will dive in because there's lots of good stuff to go over today. So just a few more seconds and we will get started. And as you come on, if you could just drop a hi in the comments so that I know you're here with me. And if you are catching this in the replay, please drop a hashtag replay in the comments so that I know you were here. And as always, if you have any questions or comments or anything, please just drop them in. I will respond to them as they come in or through private message if you're catching the replay or on the live session on Monday, okay? All right, so before I get started, and today we're going to be talking about making the most out of your connects on Upwork. But before I jump into that, I just wanted to take a minute to address two questions that I've received since yesterday's session. So the first one is Jamie emailed me, and here's what she said. She said, I've tried to apply to Upwork twice in the past as a freelance writer and have been denied both times. You mentioned that's an oversaturated segment on the platform. It is. So can I apply again with a different specialization? Or will Upwork think that's suspicious? I think this is a great question and one that I've heard a lot. So for Jamie or for anybody else that has tried to apply before and finds himself in this position where they've been denied by Upwork, the answer is yes, you can absolutely apply again. Chances are that when you were denied originally because you were applying in an oversaturated market, you received that email saying we receive thousands of requests a day and we can't accept everybody. And there are just too many freelancers within this category in our platform right now. Chances are that you received that just based on Upwork's algorithm. So it was just an automated response. And like I said, chances are that a human being didn't actually look at your profile. So you can absolutely try again. I don't think, I've never heard of anybody being questioned when they apply again with a different specialization. So I wouldn't worry about that. Go ahead and try again. Choose a different specialization, one that's complementary to what you want to do ultimately. And like we discussed yesterday, you can always switch your specialization after you're in the platform. Okay, so then the next question that I wanted to address is a message that I received from Alicia. And she wanted to find out about the one-to-one profile reviews that I'm going to be a part of the Upwork course. And so she asked, and although that course is not the focus of these lives, I just wanted to take a minute to address it because I figured some other people might also be wondering about it. So her question was, for the one-to-one reviews, will you actually look over my profile before I submit it to Upwork and provide real feedback and suggestions for improvement? Or would that be an extra charge because that seems like a lot? I get it. And honestly, I went back and forth on this one quite a bit, trying to decide if I did want to include it or have it as an extra cost. In the future, it might be an extra cost or it might be part of a price increase for the course itself. But as of right now, it's all included. I will take the time to look over your profile before you submit it, provide feedback, provide any tips or insight, suggestions for improvement, all of that good stuff, just as part of the course cost. I've been doing this for a long time, and it really brings me a lot of joy and excitement to help people in this personal way. So that's why I want to do it as part of the course, because I just enjoy doing it so much and helping other moms like myself to get accepted on Upwork and to start earning through Upwork. Just, I don't know, it fuels me. So for now, it's included. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on that because we have a lot to get into with the training today. And so now let's transfer over to that and talk about getting the most bang for your Connects buck, okay? So as I mentioned in session one, a lot of freelancers on Upwork will use between 1 to 6 Connects for each proposal that they submit. And the Connects cost 15 cents each. and they can be purchased in bundles starting at 10 for $1.50 up to 80 for $12. So it's really not that bad. When it comes to the number of connects that you need to use per proposal submission, here's what Upwork has to say, okay? They say, we calculate the number of connects needed based on the projected job value, as well as the marketplace demand. A longer-term job with a high budget will require more connects than a small project. And then they give you these estimates. A quick job, under 2 days and under $49, will only need 1 or 2 connects to apply for that. A short-term job that's less than a week and where you'll make $50 to $599 will be 3 to 4 connects. And a longer-term job, which is anything over a week and anything where you'll earn over $600, will be 5 to 6 connects. Okay? So these connects are deducted from your Upwork account as soon as you submit your proposal. And it doesn't matter if you actually get the job or not, the connects are taken right away. So that's why it's important that you make sure that you're absolutely getting the most out of your connects. Before I dive into sharing some tips and tricks to help you do just that, I want to reiterate my feelings again about the connects process. I know there are a lot of existing Upwork freelancers that were very upset when Upwork made this change earlier this year, beginning of summer. And honestly, at the time, I was one of them. I did not like it at all. But since then, I've spent a lot of time really watching the marketplace and seeing what kind of effect it's had. And I've changed my mind because I've seen the overall positive change that's resulted. And so after watching that and just really paying attention, I now think it's a good thing. Sure, I don't like the idea of, having to pay money to apply for a position that I might not get, but it has drastically improved the whole environment for freelancers. Let me explain why. So having to use paid connects means that freelancers stop and really consider each job listing before submitting a proposal. Prior to this system being in place, it wasn't uncommon to see some freelancers just submitting a proposal on every job that came out there. And that indiscriminate submission process was doing a disservice to the freelancers themselves because they were wasting time applying to things that they really shouldn't have been applying to, whether it's because they weren't a good fit for the job or the job itself wasn't a good fit for them, but they, were just applying because it was there. And it also caused the clients to feel overwhelmed with the amount of proposals they were receiving, and they had to sort through, just proposal after proposal. And I think it really hurt the platform overall. So now with the Connect system in place, freelancers take the time to consider each listing before submitting a proposal. And this drastically reduces the competition on each opportunity. And clients have the confidence to know that all of the submissions they receive are likely already a pretty good fit, because otherwise you wouldn't have spent the connects to apply. So they have more confidence going into it, and the freelancers are more confident about what they're applying to because they know there'll be less competition, and they'll know that they'll have already vetted themselves as a good fit for the opportunity or not ahead of time. So what I've noticed is the number of proposals on each job listing has decreased dramatically. It used to be average to see over 100 proposals on just one job listing, which is crazy. You're competing with all these people. But now, I just pulled up not too long ago before I started this session, and there were probably 90% of the jobs that show up on my feed have 5 to 10 proposals, which is crazy compared to how it used to be. And it's great. I mean, can you see the benefit there? You're now competing with only 4 to 9 other freelancers as opposed to 99 other freelancers that the client has to sort through and figure out, who they want to talk to, who they want to get back to. So I think it's really a huge benefit. And to me, both of those things are more than enough reason to justify spending the $10 to $15 per month that you'll spend on Connects. And it's just the ROI is definitely there, okay? So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's move on to how you can make the most of your connects by helping you to find the best fit jobs, weed out the scammers, and ultimately develop a sustainable pitching strategy, okay? So my first tip for everybody, and this is once you're inside the Upwork platform, is to amp up your filtering and searching skills, okay? Pretend like you are, searching for the most important thing in the world. And Upwork, the platform itself, has an awesome filter and search system that you should get really familiar with. Jump in there once you're accepted into the platform, or if you're already a freelancer on there, and play around with it and see the capabilities, because I think you'll be really impressed with how much you can do to change things up. Once you get really good at working their system, it makes it so much easier to save you time and lots of effort in finding those good jobs for you. If you're in the US, and I'm guessing most of you that watch this are, I know we have some members from Canada and I think some from the UK, so you have similar systems that you can use to filter. But if you're in the US like I am, you definitely want to filter to US only jobs. And this will show you jobs where clients have selected that they only want to hire talent from within the US. This drastically, if not completely, eliminates that whole race to the bottom pricing structure that so many Upwork freelancers complain about, because you're not competing with the global marketplace then and the discrepancies in income levels. You're just competing with US freelancers, and you'll be much more likely to be on the same page in terms of what you're all, what your proposed rate is for everybody. So that really makes a big difference. According to Upwork, the US only jobs have 75% higher rates. They have 20%, or only 20% of all freelancers on Upwork have access to these jobs, meaning only 20% of the Upwork freelance population is from the US, which is very telling, I think. And you also have 50% larger contract size on the US only jobs. So absolutely filter to US only. If a lot of these tips I'm giving you right now are for your initial round of pitching. If you go through one round and let's say you choose 10 jobs to apply to and none of them pan out, nobody replies back to you, you don't get any interviews, you don't get any jobs, then we can readjust at that time and maybe try, some different things. But initially, I want everybody to be a little picky, because you have room to be a little picky as you get started to see what's going to work for you and what's not. So first tip then is US only is your number one filter, okay? And then you're going to set up, you'll have a screen that says My Job Feed. And unfortunately, I can't share my screen with you now. I do a lot of screen sharing in the Upwork course and some over-the-shoulder type training where I show you my screen and talk through different things, but I can't do that on this live. But if you're familiar with Upwork, you'll know what I'm talking about. On the left-hand side, when you sign into your dashboard on Upwork, there's a section called My Categories. And you want to set that section up so that it includes many different categories from as many different specializations as you want. The more categories you have in there, the more jobs Upwork will automatically show to you in your feed when you first sign in. And that's one of the easiest places to first look and scroll through different available opportunities. And you can play around with that as much as you'd like. You can change, add, remove, until you find the best combination for yourself. To use search itself, and this is the absolute key thing. This made such a difference for me when I was getting started out, and to this day I still use it. If I have a gap in my schedule and I'm looking for a client, I'm now very picky about what types of clients I want to work with and what types of jobs I want to do. So I use this feature all the time. I'll go in. My favorite type of job to do right now is influencer marketing campaigns. So I'll go in and I'll set all of my search criteria so that every job I look at, will be a perfect fit. And sometimes because I am so picky, I'll only get, 5 different opportunities that I might want to apply to. But that's okay because I'm just looking to fill, a little gap in my schedule. But for those of you that are just starting, here are the tips that I want you to follow, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to type in the search bar just the overall broad term for the type of job you're looking for. So let's say you're looking for a virtual assistant job. You'll just type in virtual assistant and hit enter. And then once you do that, Upwork will give you, on the top of that screen, there'll be a box with all the different filters that you can go through. And there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 8 different filters that you can choose from on that screen. And those are job type, experience level, client history, client info, number of proposals, budget, hours per week, and project length. So you can go through and set all those different filters for yourself. Now, here are the recommendations that I have for any new Upwork freelancers to use as your filters. For job type, choose any. Now, hourly is my personal preference because I like the security of the guaranteed payment when you do an hourly job through Upwork. But I know there are a lot of people out there that don't necessarily like being on the time tracker and prefer the fixed rate jobs. So if you're not worried about the payment security, go ahead and look at the hourly and fixed rate. If you want that built-in security, then you can filter it to just the hourly jobs. For experience level, I recommend that you do any, because a lot of times clients will select the expert designation when they're submitting their listing, when the work itself really isn't an expert level job. So don't feel like just because you're new and getting started that the expert level jobs won't apply to you. A lot of times they still will. You just have to know the signs to look for. Okay, so it's easy enough to weed out the ones that are beyond your expertise once you have all the other filters in place. So the next one then is client history. I want you to exclude the one that says no hires in your first batch of proposals, just the first time, and see what you get. The no hires means that it's a new client to Upwork and they don't have any history on the platform. Those are, a lot of times you'll run into scammers, you'll run into people that are just playing around with Upwork to see what's out there. And I've found personally that I waste more time with the people that have no hires, but at the same time, I've also found some really great clients that are brand new to the platform. So just for your first time, I want you to go through and eliminate the clients that have no hires. When you go through your next batch, then you can include those in, okay? For the number of proposals, I want you to select all but the 20 to 50 proposal. This section, the number of proposals section, refers to how many proposals that listing already has received. So why go in as a new freelancer to something where you're already going to have a lot of competition? So that's why I say unselect that one and minimize the amount of competition that you're starting out against. For the budget filter, I recommend using any budget until you've gotten at least 1 or 2 clients under your belt. For hours per week, select any, because a lot of times clients don't really know how many hours per week they want, and that's something that you'll decide together through the negotiation process, okay? For project length, I want you to select any here also, and that's for 2 reasons. The less than 100 budget from the budget filter earlier, combined with the less than 1 month project length, is a great combination for new freelancers. It gives you a chance to get this tiny little project for not a lot of money, so that means it's an easy hire for a client to hire somebody new to the platform when it's a lower budget project. So you can do, a 2-hour project for $50 and close it out right away and get your first review and your first rating. And that's really important. So it's good to include the less than $100 budget for that reason alone. But then the other one is for the project length. I have had many clients over the years where the project length they originally selected was less than 1 month, and it ended up being a project that I worked on for 6 months or 2 years. One of my clients right now that I have that I've been working with since 2011, I believe was initially a less than 1 month project. So obviously it's not, nothing set in stone. And a lot of times I think when clients are setting up their initial job proposals, they're not sure how long they're going to want to work with somebody. And so they set it to a lower scale just to make sure that they're comfortable. So as long as you come in and you're doing a good job and they're happy with you and you've become a great member of their team, you can definitely turn it into something long-term if you want to. Okay, so that's my first tip, is that whole filtering and searching section. Get really good at it and get really comfortable with it, and it'll make it so much easier for you to find the good jobs that are the best fit for you. So for tip number 2, now I want you to put on your investigator hat, because now we're going to examine the client themselves. When you look at a job listing, there'll be a section on the right-hand side of the screen that says About the Client. And this is the section that I really want you to pay attention to. Some things that I want you to look for in this section include a hire rate of above 50%. That means that the number of jobs they've put or that they've listed on the site, they've hired somebody for those jobs at least 50% of the time. If you see somebody that has a higher rate of 10%, that means they're constantly listing new jobs and not hiring anybody. So it's, it could definitely be a waste of your time to work with those clients, or a waste of your connects to submit a proposal. So look for a higher rate above 50%. Look for at least $500 total spent. So that means that they've already spent $500 at least with other freelancers on the platform. It's just their history so far. And then you also want to look at their average hourly rate paid. This one is really important. If it's somebody that says, they're looking for somebody expert level, and they're telling you all these great things, but then you look and you see their average hourly rate paid is only $10, chances are you're going to be wasting your time, because you're going to get sucked into a negotiation process where they try to talk you down, where they, make big promises about, oh, well, let's start you at this rate for now and we'll move you up. And those tend to be, at least for me personally, they tend to be a big waste of time. So I recommend that you look for at least $15 per hour as the average hourly rate paid. And then the other one you want to look for is their reviews and their average rating. And you want to look for somebody that has at least 4 stars. Now, just like the contractors, the freelancers have a rating system. When a job is closed out, the freelancer that worked on the job also gets to review the client. So these stars will show you the experience that other freelancers have had with this person. So look for at least 4 stars there. And then what you're going to do is read through the reviews that they've received from other freelancers to see how other people have felt about working with this person. And also look at the reviews that they've left for the freelancers that they've worked with, because that'll give you a really good idea what kind of person they're like to work with. If it's an overly negative review and it looks like they aren't being fair maybe to the freelancer, you might not want to bother submitting a proposal. So it will just give you a good read on what that client would be like to work with. So definitely pay attention to those reviews. And then you also want to pay attention to how they wrote the job description itself. Look for buzzwords. If they say things like, don't waste my time, or I only want somebody that's the absolute best and is going to make a huge difference within the next 24 hours for my business, or, if they look like they have wild expectations that just aren't realistic, or if they look like they might be mean in any way or not unfair, just based on the way they write the job description, it's a pretty easy gut feeling So pay attention to that as you read through the job description itself. And, look for the personality of the client in the job description and make sure it looks like somebody that you'd want to work with. And then tip number 3 will help you get familiar with some of the common scam red flags to watch out for. As I've said, unfortunately, there are scammers on Upwork, just like anywhere. So the biggest that I've found over the years and that I've learned from talking to other freelancers, that there are definitely some common traits that you'll find in these scams. So the 3 biggest ones are they have over 15 open jobs listed in their client section that we just talked about. You can see how many open jobs they have. That usually means somebody's posting a very similar job in lots of different categories, and that's a red flag to watch out for. Number 2, the listing says that they need to hire more than 2 people for the job, and it doesn't make sense for the job. Here's a common one that a lot of people get. I need an administrative assistant who's going to do all these tasks for me and be my right-hand person and take on all these responsibilities. And, they're saying they need this right-hand person, but that they need to hire 20 people. Definitely a red flag. Definitely stay away there. Okay. And then this one's interesting. There are 2 phrases that a lot of these scam listings will have in common. And those are run errands and handle bank deposits. If the job listing says they're going to want you to run personal errands for them, run far away because you will be wasting your time. If it says they want you to handle bank deposits, same thing. Okay? Neither one of those are legit. Sure, I guess there could be an Upwork job where you would be running errands and handling bank deposits for somebody, but that's really not what the platform is built for. If there's somebody hiring for something like that, they're probably going to go somewhere where they want somebody in-house, not a virtual freelancer, right? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But I've seen a lot of people get suckered in by listings like this, so just be careful. The other one usually doesn't come up until you're already in the negotiation process and they've already said, we want to hire you. But let me just mention that. So what they'll do is they'll say, we want to pay for your supplies we want to pay for you to buy a printer, and we'll send you a check for $1,400, I think is the amount I see a lot. We'll send you a check for $1,400 to cover your printer to buy the software we want you to buy. And then the way the scam works is you take the check and deposit it, and then they stop payment on the check. So I'm missing a step in there. Hold on, let's back up. So you take the check and deposit it, and then you use that money to buy whatever they're telling you have to buy from them, and then they stop payment on the check. So you're out that money. It's a crazy, convoluted scam. So anytime somebody says they want to send you a check when they're first hiring you, move on, okay? Just move on. It's not worth it. So in my course, as I mentioned before, I'm going to do a lot of over-the-shoulder training where I'll actually share my screen with you and inside my Upwork dashboard, and we'll go through all this stuff. And then we'll also do a one-to-one review, another one. So we'll do a one-to-one review of your proposals, or of your profile, I'm sorry. And then we'll do a one-to-one review to help you find the first 5 to 10 jobs that look like, something that would be a good fit for you to try for your first proposals. So that's it for today. I hope I shared some good tips with you. If you're already on the Upwork platform, or if you're just, in the process and have applied and you get accepted, first thing I want you to do is go in there and play around with the searching and filtering and look at the jobs. Try and see, what you can find, what's out there, because I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of good stuff out there. So do that, play around with it, have some fun with it, then put on your investigator hat and have fun, looking at the client's history, and be aware of those scam red flags that I mentioned. And that's it for today. On Monday, we'll talk about pitching and sending your first proposal. including what you should include in your cover letter, which is always fun. So I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you for joining me for this session today. I hope it was useful and valuable for you. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments. I will send you a private message, or I will make sure to address it on Monday before we start the new session. And also, if you're catching the replay, please just drop a hashtag replay or any kind of comment in the comments so that I know you were here, okay? Thanks. Bye, guys.